This is Hitachi's 3¼ peak horsepower variable speed plunge router, model M12VE. For those of you who remember the predecessor, the M12V, this is the same die-hard, work-hard router that many of us woodworkers have come to love. There are no crazy features, it's bare-bone basics. Work hard, get the job done. The 3¼ peak horsepower motor operates from 8,000 to 22,000 RPM. This will cover you from anything from using straight cutter bits, pattern making bits, or even molding bits in a router table or freehand. What I really like about this router is the ease of use. All of the controls are located within reach of your operating hands. For instance, the on-off switch is directly next to your right hand control. That allows you to turn the router on and off while still holding onto the router, giving you maximum control. In addition, the on-off switch has soft start, which means that when you start the tool, it's not going to get out of control when you don't have a good grip on it. It also features a no-frills depth adjustment. Extremely simple to use. Simply undo the set screw, raise and lower your bar using the provided scale to get accurate depth adjustment, and then you can fine-tune using the small set screws at the base of the router. I oftentimes find when I'm using a router, depending on the position and how I'm holding the router, that it's a little uncomfortable and difficult to manage. Hitachi solved that problem by allowing you to adjust the handle positions with 3 different positive stops so that you can rotate the angle of the handle, allowing you to use the tool at its most comfortable position. Located at the back of the tool is the adjustment lever for the plunge adjustment. By simply pressing the lever down, it locks it into place. By moving it back up, you have full adjustment to move the router up and down to whatever position you need. I also like that it's right next to the handle, so that you can easily grab the lock adjustment and lock it into place while you still have control of the router. So I'm going to demonstrate how to set the router up. First thing, whenever we're doing any service on the router, you want to make sure you unplug it. Most important. Got a router bit here. It's a 90-degree V bit. Just going to drop it into the collet here, making sure that it doesn't bottom out. You want to keep the bit about probably 1/8 of an inch from bottoming out in the chuck itself. This is a really great feature on this router. It's got the spindle lock here, so you only need to use 1 wrench to tighten it. So while lightly depressing it, kind of spin the spindle here until you feel that button engaged. That's where it's going to lock into the shaft of the actual router and lock the spindle. So using one hand, your thumb, to hold that button in, you can tighten the collet by hand. Then using your supplied spanner wrench, make sure that you tighten the router, making sure it's really good and tight. Next, we're going to depth it. So we're going to flip the router over, and we're going to depth it down so that it bottoms out on the workpiece that we're using. So we have the lock lever, which is going to release the clamps, which allow the router to plunge up and down. First thing I'm going to do is lightly depress it until my bit bottoms out on the workpiece. I am then going to turn my lock lever to lock it in place. Next, I'd like to do, probably on this pass, maybe about a 3/8 to 1/4 inch depth of cut. So I'm going to release my locking pin here. I'm going to drop that down. The depth pin is setting on the micro adjust post here, which you can turn the screw to get, if you really need to get an exact depth, you can get it approximately, and then by turning the screw and the set bolt, you can, the set nut, excuse me, you can make sure that you get the appropriate depth. Now I'm going to use the supplied scale. I'm going to zero it out so that it's showing me that I'm right at 0 here. Then I'm going to, with it bottomed out, everything set, with the router flat against the substrate here, I'm going to release this knob. I'm going to raise my bar here up to, let's do about 3/8 of an inch. So I'm using the scale, I've moved it up to 3/8 of an inch, locked it in place, and now you can see there's about 3/8 of an inch between the depthing pin and the bottom post. So now, when I release the lever here, when I depth the router and lock it in place, the bit is approximately 3/8 of an inch beyond the base. Now, I'm going to release that lever, which allows the base to come back up, and we're ready to route. So, you can plug your tool in, and then appropriate safety gear, and we're ready to begin. The M12VE is also equipped with a variable speed control located at the top of the router. By simply turning this dial from 1 to 6, you can adjust from 8 to 22,000 RPM. This allows you to use a variety of different size bits, whether you're doing moldings, flush trimming, or just general routing techniques. The accessories that come with the M12VE are a convenient carrying case, which also contains a parallel guide, a template guide, a 23mm wrench, a wing bolt, template guide adapter, 1/4 and 1/2 inch collets, and the router is totally covered by a 5-year warranty.